Welcome back to Making Money Matter, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Kerry Stevenson. I'm your host. Look at this. We've got Glen Diemar. He is the Managing Director of Australian Gold and Copper. The ASX code is AGC. I've got him out on site at their project in New South Wales. It's the South Cobar project. It's in the South Cobar basin of the Lachlan Fold Belt, which actually is getting a lot of attention at the moment. Glen, thanks so much for finding signal. It looks like the most perfect day, not too much wind, and I've got you online. So I'm pretty excited to chat to you because it's been a while since you've been on the channel. Because it's been a while, give us the brief, I guess, elevator pitch of who are Australian Gold and Copper, and then I want to know why you're so excited at the moment.
Sure, thanks, Kerry, and audience. We firstly love what you do and the Australian Gold Conference. We are Australian Gold and Copper, ASX listed AGC. We've got about $14 million in the bank, 45 million market cap. We're currently a New South Wales explorer. We are just loving our patch of dirt here in the Cobar Basin. Last year we had a discovery which we're a pure greenfields explorer, and we had a great discovery last year.
For those that don't understand, just explain a greenfields explorer, because I do have a lot of people that are new to this.
Yeah, great. So greenfields is when you don't have mineral resources yet. You've chosen to go into a new patch of ground where people haven't really explored before. And the reason you do that is because when you go to a new patch of ground, find what we call a new search space, you have the opportunity to find a big one. And we have applied that thinking for a number of years. And because when you look around old, well-explored patches of ground, there's drill holes everywhere, and you often don't find big ones anymore. You find lots of small ones. We wanted to go somewhere new because big deposits have big footprints, and we really felt we had the opportunity to find a big one here. Cobar Basin is one of the oldest mining districts in Australia. 150 years of mining. They found copper here even before Broken Hill, Kerry. It was about 1870 that they found copper here, and it's been a mining area ever since. So continuous mining for over 150 years. The other explorers, the other miners in our belt north of us here are Mac Copper, who have just had a takeover, currently going for $1.7 billion. That is the third highest grade copper mine in the world, and has been almost continuously running for 150 years, or about 140 years. Aurelia Metals, 500 million market cap, operating multiple mining centres. And what's great about these areas is they're situated on these shear zones. When you find a productive shear zone, you just keep exploring and you keep growing, because they're really nice and fertile. What we say is fertile, as in there can be lots of gold, silver there, etc. So today we are in a quarry just south of the town of Lake Cargelligo, where we operate out of, and we just announced earlier this week that we've purchased this package of ground to our southern boundary, and we did that because our discovery last year, which I'm sure we'll talk about, essentially looks to continue down into this package of ground. So we've been exploring north of us, and these shear zones continue, and that acquisition makes us the largest landholder in this whole area, and essentially we control the whole belt in the southern Cobar Basin now. And like majors, the major miners, they like to control the whole district, not just a small tenement. So this is a little piece of quite a big piece actually of ground for the future.
Just talk to us about this acquisition, because if I'm right, that brings your total land package, if you like, to I think it's about 1,400 square kilometers. That seems awfully big. And I just wonder how efficient you can be with such a massive land holding.
Yeah, good question. What we like about this land holding is that it's not one of these deep undercover areas.
Okay.
There are, as you can see, rocks sticking out of the ground. There's hills. Uh, so about 30% of the area is outcropping. So that means no sort of transported soils blanketing the area. And then the other 70% is undercover, what we call undercover. So there might be 1 to 20 meters of
Soil, if you like.
of soil covering the ground, so it makes it blind in those areas. So there's, and for Australia, for the old geology that we have here, a lot of Australia is covered by rocks, and that's why undercover exploration is so trendy. But we were a small explorer, micro cap, and we felt that, well, this area has been grossly underexplored, so we wanted to come here and find mineralization near surface. And ever since our IPO in 2021, that was always our mission, to find near surface gold resources. And happy to say that we're actually doing it.
Okay, and you come from a line of pedigree of people that have been in this business. Both your mum and your dad have been in the mining sector. Talk to me about, before I get on to your discovery from last year, which I think is important. Yep. Getting a bit hot out there, is it, Glenn?
No, I just want to not cover my eyes.
I just want to know the transaction details of this acquisition and how you got it and what you had to pay for it. Like, what are the terms of this transaction?
Yeah, so it's not a huge amount, Kerry. It's $400,000 of upfront cash, and there's a back end on the proceeds of mining, which is $1 million paid, from the proceeds of of mining, and that's a long way down the track. The upfront consideration of 400,000 cash for us at the cost the share price that we raised that money at, which was 32 cents. That's about 0.5% dilution on our cash. So we wanted to do it from cash, not script, because if we did it from script at our current share price, we essentially would have been paying twice as much in the number of shares. So we didn't. We wanted to do it in cash, and the group that we purchased it from, we're quite happy to take cash. So cash always brings the price down.
Why did they want to get rid of it? If you think it's so prospective for mineralization and the opportunities there, are they?
Yeah, Strategic Energy Resources had spent about $2.5 million on this package of ground, and they did some good work, but they've got other stuff up in Queensland. We are the dominant sort of explorer here, and they wanted to focus up. They've got some joint ventures, I think, up in Queensland. So they were happy to vend it in, take some cash. Cash is really hard to get, Kerry.
Yeah, cash is hard to get, but also I guess that what they've got, it's almost like a royalty. I think it's $100 per ounce of gold mined, up to a maximum of $1 million. When you get to that, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, they're not going to be mining tomorrow, so don't get overexcited. Talk to us again and remind us about the discovery you made last year, which got the market pretty excited. It's got not unexcited at the moment, but I think they're waiting for the next one. So talk to us about last year's discovery.
Yeah, that was exciting. So we came from 4.5 cents, grew the concept of what we were doing, and when we made the discovery, we were 8 cents, and we shot up to 61 cents in the 2-week period after the discovery. So that was a very exciting 2 weeks of my life. I will say, a real life goal to make a discovery like that. And we're continuously drilling that out now. So we had identified one of these shear zones. We completed some first pass drilling, offensive holes, and we hit gold and silver in the first hole that we drilled. and then we stepped 110 meters south and then 110 meters north. So in 3 drill holes, we defined it over about 220 meters of strike. And then we saw the assays, released them to the market, brought the rig in a week later, and our 4th drill hole, Kerry, was 5 meters, or intercepted mineralization, 5 meters at 16.5 grams gold, 1,600 grams silver, and 15% lead plus zinc. And that was, I can't totally remember, it was from about 130 meters down. So in the next 9 drill holes, we defined it over 650 meters of strike. And it's really nice and continuous. It's really shallow, comes right up to surface, and it's very rare. So we've now found it 650 meters long, 300 meters down from surface down, and we haven't found the boundaries of it yet. So
you're
more drilling to do.
You're still working in that area at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've just completed, announced last week or about 2 weeks ago, we announced that we just completed 11,000 meters of air core up and down that shear zone, because we wanted to know where is this the best deposit in our zone?
Yeah.
Because the cost of capital, dilution are 2 things every managing director should be thinking about, but also deployment of capital and the leverage you get. So it's really important to really be confident in where you're deploying capital, that you're going to get that payback. And I'll explain a really nice example of that. So we wanted to work out that is Achilles the best, and the results from that were, we've defined it over 650 meters, but it looks like it goes for probably 1.2 kilometers, and then there's another zone, another sort of kilometer south of that, which looks to be another 2 kilometer zone of gold and silver as well. So it's actually, we were surprisingly surprised about the results. They're really impressive. So we've, within 3 weeks of that aircore program finishing, brought an RC rig back, so a rig that can drill about 250 meters from surface, and that's drilling away. We will look to bring a second rig in over the next quarter.
And so again, going back to the size of
Yes.
the project, if you like, I think it's 1,400 square kilometers. How do you manage that? I'm talking on behalf of current shareholders and future shareholders. What I'm looking for is good, strong custodian of shareholder funds, but also how do you add shareholder value? Right now, market cap's 45 mil. The market did get excited at that discovery last year.
Absolutely, yep.
How do you re-excite them, I guess, and give that value to shareholders?
What we haven't completed yet, or we're working on it, is a maiden gold and silver resource. Okay. So we're nearing that. We've had to complete metallurgy first, so we sent 50 kilograms worth of mineralized rock down to the laboratory, and we're nearing the end of that process now. You've got to do that metallurgy to be confident in your maiden resource, and also then to be able to quote your drill intercepts on a gold equivalent basis or a silver equivalent basis. So we've completed a huge amount of work there, and that will unlock that value and show shareholders what we've been able to produce from the $4 million that we've spent on that drilling out that deposit in the last 12 months. So then the next catalyst with that as well is discovering further mineralization outside of that resource. That resource is going to be sort of 650 meters long, 300 meters down to 300 meters depth, but we want to discover another one down the belt, and that's why we completed that huge amount of air core drilling, which is the shallow drilling, testing the soil profile 5 kilometers south. So we drilled 312 holes in the last 3 months, Kerry.
That's pretty impressive.
To expand that footprint. So really the next catalyst is we're up there drilling 500 meters south of where where the deposit is, so we can discover the next one.
All right.
Because we talk about deployment of capital. We feel finding another one down the belt, shallow near surface, is better than finding extensions 400 or 500 meters down.
Why? Why is that?
Because you've got to, when you're mining, you mine the top rocks first.
Sure.
So if the top rocks are mineralized, your payback of your capital and your profit is going to be higher than 500 meters down. It costs a lot of money to get 500 meters down. So, and it also costs a lot of money to drill out deposits 500 meters depth. For one drill hole, 500 meter drill hole, we can do maybe 2 or 3 or 4 shallow holes, and so potentially find mineralization closer to surface. So it's just that the ability to deploy capital in areas that will leverage our shareholders' funds the best.
I like that. Just talk to us, if you like, about why others didn't have a look at this. Why did you decide that this 1,400 square kilometers, and you're locking up this area?
Yeah.
Why others hadn't looked at it before, and why you think it's so prospective for, I guess it's a polymetallic deposit, because you mentioned gold, silver, lead.
Yes,
so
it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a polymetallic deposit. But he's hoping probably to find a lot more gold than the others, but also silver's on the rise, so nothing bad about that. But talk to us about that.
So when you find, we wanted to find something in a new area that was near a town, but not too remote. We knew the value was there in this area. We knew this area was fertile for gold and silver.
Okay.
From previous explorers, there had been a little bit of work completed in 2007 and 1997, and we were really following on from the footsteps of our previous explorers, and we identified this area. But we've completed by far the most work here, and we identified that this shear zone was prospective for gold and silver, and the work hadn't been done. So
okay, all right. Well, we don't have a lot of time left, and I know you're sitting on the edge of the quarry of this latest tenement, and we've talked about the details of it. Can you shift your camera and just show us, because I think you're pretty excited about this, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. So we this is part of the package of ground that we just purchased. It's about 15 kilometers south of our discovery, and these we keep talking about these productive shear zones, these gold and silver rich shear zones, and there's 2 really nice ones that we've identified, the one that we've discovered on, and then an analogous shear zone to the south, and it's 10 kilometers long, Kerry, and it's sticking out of the ground. The reason these were quite easier to identify where they are is because the local council, goes along and finds rock that would be good for road base.
A road base.
And for road base, you need some competent rock that doesn't crush down too much, but has about 20% clay in it to form that nice solid road base. And in this area, it's all this really hard rock, volcanic rock, really hard. But where the shear zones are, it's all been sort of ground up, and it breaks on fine grain, what we call volcanic clastics, and they're great for mineralizing, and they're also great for building roads with. So we've literally just gone around and found the quarries, and we're exploring along from them. This quarry here is about 400 meters in length.
Oh, there we are. Look at that. Oh, he literally is sitting on the edge of the quarry.
Yeah.
Okay, don't fall down there, please, Glenn.
I'm much further back than it may look. The quarry is about 400 meters in length, and on this high wall We've got three of our team running around sampling because there are some really nice looking rocks.
I can't hear you very well. Just bring that. There we go. Again,
there are some really nice looking rocks sticking out of this quarry that were sampled about 20 years ago, but the concept of what we're doing wasn't really identified then. So there was some good rock chips here, and with anomalous sort of pathfinder elements. So that means with gold and silver, you don't just get gold and silver, you get all these other elements as well, which behave differently in the weathered environment. And we sort of identify these through assaying at the laboratory. And a lot of companies put out a lot of rock chip data.
Yep.
As a precursor to sort of help you explore and find where the gold and silver deposits might be. So there's some really nice shear zone structures in there with quartz veining and weathered sulfide, like where pyrite and the sulfide minerals, so metal bonded with sulfur, which is also where often the gold is. And when you bring that up into the weathered environment, it weathers, the sulfur turns to sulfuric acid, and it looks like the rocks are rusting. You know how metal, you might get rust on any bit of metal. The sulfuric acid from the sulfides rust essentially when they come up to surface and react with oxygen in the air, turns to sulfuric acid, and you get this rusty look all over the rocks. This whole quarry is just full of it. It's quite incredible. So we only picked up this ground earlier this week, so we're just coming through and doing the groundwork. Do
you think?
Hopefully,
Glenn,
it's.
Do you think this is where your next? Sorry to
finding another one.
Do you think this is where the next discovery could potentially be? I don't want, like, ladies and gentlemen, it's not there yet, but do you think this potentially could be quite an exciting area for you?
I don't think it's where the next one will be. I'm hoping the next one will be very close to where we discovered 15, 20 kilometers north, because we've got a drill rig drilling there now. This one is one for the future, which we'll start to work on over time. But these rocks here look exactly the same as the rocks up at our gold silver deposit, and they've been through that same process during that mineralizing event. So,
all right,
super exciting.
Super exciting. I just wanted you to sum up for us two things. One, what's the news flow for shareholders and potential shareholders going forward for the second half of 25? Just give us a quick update on that.
Yep, great. So metallurgy, exploration drilling results. We're drilling currently. We've got samples at the lab. They should be out in 3 weeks, I suppose, mid July perhaps. We're working through this new package of ground, so there'll be news results on that, and we'll just be continuously drilling for the rest of the year, Kerry. So we're hoping, and we're setting ourselves up for the next discovery, a long strike from Achilles, but also drilling underneath Achilles. We still want to make it bigger, right? And we've got the bank balance to do that as well. So
well funded.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, 3 reasons they should sit up and take notice of you right now as I talk to you coming up towards the end of June.
Gold silver dominant player. There's not many silver ways to invest in silver explorers on the ASX. There's only a handful of companies. Our deposit seems to be about silver is really the dominant value driver in our deposit. So and gold being the second one. So it's a great leverage into silver, and the silver charts look good, and looks like it's starting to break out again. So along with gold, so I think that's one way to differentiate us from just the pure gold explorers. Also, $14 million cash in the bank, and a $45 million market cap, so enterprise value of $30 million. We have discovered quite a large new deposit in the Cobar basin. So I think you're getting great exposure to a new gold deposit, new gold silver deposit, but you're also knowing that we've got a good cash balance, good cash backing. The third one is that our major shareholder owns 55% of us and has contributed and is on our board. And they're a wonderful group of investors, and they've contributed in the last two raises and will underpin and cornerstone our raises going forward. And that is a unique position because that means all of our raises going forward are cornerstones. So
who are they, Glenn?
Yeah, Geozen, which is a Hong Kong entity, or it's a Hong Kong family. They're also based here in Sydney. They've got a big office here in Sydney. We have been with them for 2 years now. We courted together for a year before we did the deal, and they came in a year and a half ago, put $10 million into us for a 55% stake. And then once we discovered 4 months later, they put another $6 million in and cornerstoned an $11 million raise. They're very keen to keep going. They're energized. They come out to the project quite often. I see them every week. I talk to them all the time.
So it's a happy marriage.
Wonderful group.
Happy marriage.
And highly engaged.
Fantastic. Well, ladies and gentlemen,
and have been to the Australian Gold Conference and been in the booth with me, Kerry.
There we go. There we go. So speaking of which, the Australian Gold Conference will be 13th to 15th of October in Sydney, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure you'll see Glenn there as well. There's lots going on in this space. And as Glenn said just a moment ago, watch the silver space. Silver and platinum are starting to make some really big noises at the moment. There could be some interesting an interesting future as far as that's concerned. But Australian Gold and Copper, what they've done, he's been very strategic. He's locked up this part of the belt in the Lachlan Fold Belt. It's a really good strategic way that he's looking at it. He's being very careful with funds. That's your shareholder funds. And Glenn, I hope that we get, and I'm so glad that the reception out there was working. It looks like a beautiful day out there. Thanks so much for joining us on Making Money Matter. And ladies and gentlemen, go check them out. They've got a website. And if you've got any questions, you can always reach out to Glenn. He loves to hear from shareholders and would-be shareholders. But for now, if you like this episode, please hit the like and the subscribe button, share with others, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Kerry, and thanks everyone at home.